Yes, good morning, everyone. We are going to start with today's lecture. I'll be starting it from the point where we left it last time. We were discussing a particular question. So, this was a question we were discussing. I'll briefly recall what we were doing in the previous lecture. So, basically, we were discussing the concept of convergence. Let me show you the results again. Yes, so these were the conditions, or this was the theorem which was telling us that when a Fourier series is going to converge, that if fx and f dash x are piecewise continuous on an interval minus L to L, then Fourier series of fx given by star, means whatever is the definition of the Fourier series we know, that is going to be convergent on this interval. And now it is telling, the theorem is telling us to what value the series is going to converge. So like, as I just told you last time, that when they are going to be equal, because this is the series, and when it is going to be equal to the function itself, so the series converges to function at the points of continuity. So if you are finding the convergence at a particular point, and if that point happens to be a point in the domain where the function is continuous, so it simply converges to the same function value. Otherwise, if the point is a discontinuous point, there is a jump discontinuity there, then the limit of convergence is, the limit of the series is average of the left hand limit and the right hand limit at that point. And at endpoints of the interval minus L and L, since there also the endpoints are also considered in the category of discontinuity. So there also we need to compute average of the left hand limit and the right hand limit. But I explained you with this example that what happens at the endpoint, that at whatever endpoint you consider, either the left endpoint or you consider the right endpoint. So suppose you consider the right endpoint, say this pi, then you want to know the limit here. So you want to compute the average of its left hand limit of the function at pi and the right hand limit. So you will be having left hand limit here because uh, the definition of the function is given to you on the left of this interval, right? Because x is less than equals to pi. So that value you can find from the function definition. So how you will find the right hand limit? So for to find the right hand limit, you need to find actually the right hand limit at the left hand point, because after this, the function behavior is same. The function behaves same because of the periodicity, whatever was the behavior at the left hand point. Right. So this was all about this theorem, and we did one of the question. In fact, we were continuing with the calculation. So let me just finish that. This was a simple question in which you were not asked to derive the Fourier series. Directly, the question was asked, find the series limit or value. So we saw that at x equals to 0, the function was continuous. So it was simply function value. At x equals to pi by 2, also the function was continuous. So it was simply function value at pi by 2. And at x equals to pi, that happens to be one of the endpoints. So we computed half of the limit at pi. So at pi we computed the left hand limit, and at left hand point minus pi we computed the right hand limit. So we saw the function values turns out to be 0. And then we started the next question, that you are given a function and you have to derive its Fourier series expansion and then prove that. So you are given a particular expression and you have to prove that identity. So since this question we have already done, so I directly used its Fourier series. So its Fourier series was this, which we derived. Now important is, when you are given this kind of questions, so you need to identify what point should be chosen so that this expansion is proved. So we figured out that if we start expanding terms of this summation, the denominators are turning out to be 1 into 3, 2 into 4, 3 into 5, and then we compared with the expression which is given to us. We do not need these kind of terms. So we figured out that we just need the even multiples of x, right? So we should find that value of x where even multiple term will survive, but the odd multiple will die out. So we know that odd multiple of pi by 2 at odd multiple of pi by 2, cosine function takes 0 value. So that's why we choose x is equal to pi by 2. And once you choose x is equal to pi by 2, then you just substitute that into the Fourier series expansion. So on right hand side we'll be directly doing the substitution, the series which you have derived, you just put x equals to pi by 2. But what about the left hand side? On the left hand side, now you have to be careful whether the pi by 2 is a point of continuity, or it is a point of discontinuity, or it is an end point, because depending upon which category it falls in, we'll be accordingly computing the left hand side. Since x equal to pi by 2 is a point of continuity, you can see the function definition given to you, right? This is your function, or 0 and sine x. If you just look at the function definition, yes. So from if you look at the graph of this function, say if some of you are finding trouble in knowing how to know whether the function is continuous at a particular point or not, so you draw the graph of that function. So from minus pi to 0, the function value is 0. This is the graph. And at 0, from 0 to pi, the function graph is same as sine x. So this is going to be like this. So right. This is the graph of the function. Now, where you are interested at x equals to pi by 2. So, pi by 2 is here because this is pi. This is minus pi. This is pi. So, at pi by 2, you can see there is no point in there is no jump discontinuity. So, there is a continuity at pi by 2 because pi by 2 lies inside this interval. There is no, definition given to you with breakpoint at pi by 2. Pi by 2 is the point of continuity. That is why directly we just compute the function value at pi by 2. So to compute the function value of pi by 2, you look at pi by 2 lies between 0 to pi. So there the function behaves like sine x. So sine pi by 2 is 1. So this is up till this point we did this question. Now I'm going to continue the calculation. So on right hand side, we all have to put x equals to pi by 2 in the series. So 1 by pi plus sine pi by 2 is going to be 1. So this is 1 by 2 plus 1 by pi. So now I'm going to expand this summation term. So summation term, you have to start from n is equal to 2. You remember that. So it's minus 1 raised to power 2 minus 1 by, so it will be 2 square minus 1 into cos 2 into pi by 2, because for x I have to put pi by 2 and for n I have to substitute 1 by 1, 2, 3 and so on. What is the next term? Minus 1 raised to power 3 minus 1 by 3 square minus 1 into cos 3 pi by 2. So what you can do is basically, since you have already seen that cos at odd multiples of pi by 2, those terms are going to be 0. So you just substitute n is equal to 2, 4, 6, only the even terms, because we already know cos 3 pi by 2, that term is going to be 0, cos 5 pi by 2, that term is going to be 0, and so on. So now I'm substituting it again. The next term is going to be minus 1 raised to power 4 minus 1 by 1, 4 square minus 1 into cos 4 pi by 2, plus similarly whatever will be the coefficient, there will be cos 5 by 2 term coming on. Next, minus 1 raised to power 6 minus 1 minus 1, 6 square minus 1 cos 6 pi by 2 and so on. So this is going to be an infinite expansion. 1 is equal to 1 by pi. So this 1 by 2 can be taken on this side. So the constant, so 1 minus half will be half, plus 1 by pi. Now I'm going to do the simplifications. Cos 2 pi by 2 is cos pi, which is minus 1. And minus 1 raised to power 2 minus 1. Minus 1 raised to power 1 is negative. So minus 1 is minus 2. And 2 square minus 1 is 3. So I have to write 3 as 1 into 3. You can directly write 3 also, but because the expression which you want to prove, let me show you the expression which you want to prove. They demand the final answer to be written in this form, 1 into 3, 3 into 5, 5 into 7. So that's why I'm writing it like that. So 3 I am getting, so I'm writing it 1 into 3. This term is going to be 0, so no need to compute its coefficient. So then we have the next term. Now it is cos 4 pi by 2. 4 pi by 2 means cos 2 pi. So cos 2 pi is plus 1. And this same quantity is going to be minus 2. So minus 2 into plus 1 this time by 4 square minus 1. So 4 square minus 1 is 16 minus 1, 15. So 15 I'll be writing 3 into 5. Similarly, the next term is going to be minus 2 into minus 1 again, because this time it's cost 3 pi, and this will be 5 into 7, and so on. So we just got our expression to simplify to this level. So 1 by 2 is 1 by pi. So 2 can be taken common outside, 2 by pi. And this is 1 over 1 into 3 minus this plus this. You will see that the terms will be alternatively coming negative and positive. Now you can just divide by, you can just multiply by pi by 2. So when you multiply by pi by 2, so you will get pi by 4 is equal to 1 by 2 plus this. So this is the required expression which we want to prove. So hence proved. Right? So this was one question of its kind. Let's quickly do one more question, because if anybody is still left with any of the doubts, so your all doubts will be cleared after that question, right? So one more question of the same type we are going to do. So you can follow up from there if still anybody has confusion. So the question is, find Fourier series expansion of, so you are given a particular function pi plus x 0 minus pi to 0 and then 0 to pi, and you are given that function is periodic. So we know all those conditions. Derive pi square by 8 is 1 plus 1 by 3 square plus 1 by 5 square and so on, which is, this is what you want to now prove. So the first task is you have to find Fourier series expansion of this function. So I'm skipping that step. I'll be directly writing the Fourier series, because now you know how to compute Fourier series. You know the formulas of a naught, an and bn. Specifically, if you want to check whether this function is an odd function or even function, you can do that. Yes. Can anybody tell whether this given function is an even function or an odd function? How you are going to check? You can check graphically. It's very easy to see graphically. So you can draw the graph of this. So from minus pi to 0, from 0 to pi. So from minus pi to 0, this function is pi plus x. So this is going to be the graph of this function, and from 0 to pi, the value is 0. Yes. Is this an even function or an odd function? This is neither even nor odd, because we know that for even function we have symmetry with respect to y-axis. For odd function we have symmetry with respect to origin. So graphically it's very easy to see it's neither even nor odd, and mathematically also you can check, but most of the examples you will be able to see graphically. So it's neither even nor odd. So that means basically you need to compute three, a naught, an and bn. You need to compute all of them to get to the series, because if it would have been even, so we just have computed a naught and a, and bn would have been 0. If it would have been odd function, then only bn should be computed. But since this is neither even nor odd, so we need to compute all of them. So I'm just writing the final Fourier series. So this question you can try yourself and find the Fourier series. So the Fourier series of given function is pi by 4 plus summation this n square. This is n square cosine nx minus sine nx by n, right? So now this way, this is you do yourself. Now let's go to the derivation part. What do you want to prove? You want to prove this expression, that pi square by 8 is this. So obviously this has to be derived from this Fourier series by putting a particular value of x. So only thing is you have to now choose which value of x should be chosen. Yes, anybody can tell me what x should I choose so that I can get this series. I told you this way last time that by looking at your series cleverly, you have to think about that which term you need, which term you don't need. Can anybody tell me what value of x should I choose? So it's easy to say that uh, you see this right hand side denominators, it's 3 square 5 square, so basically okay they are odd but square, so there is no term like n. So if you look at the denominators, so the terms having sine x present, they have their denominators n, while the terms having cosine nx, their coefficients are n square. So that means I need to retain cosine because the denominators are n square, because I want 3 square 5 square and so on, but I need to get some value of x such that this sine terms become 0. So these should become 0. So sine 0 is, obviously we know that there are infinitely many possibilities where we can make sine 0, but think simple, you just need one that value. So won't be easy if you just put x is equal to 0. So if you put x is equal to 0, so you will get that, right? So think simple, in your domain minus pi to pi, where is that where you should take that value, so which will make it 0. So sine 0, easiest possible, put x equals to 0. So I'm going to do that. So put x equals to 0. So right hand side I will be getting pi by 4 plus summation n is equal to 1 to infinity 1 by n square pi 1 minus minus 1 raised to power n into cosine 0 minus sine 0 by n. So I know I'll be having just these terms, sine 0 will become 0 and cos 0 will be 1. So what should be there on the left hand side? So this I told you, for that you need to see whether this is a point of continuity or this is a point of discontinuity, right? So for that you look at the graph or you look at the function definition. So you need to tell me what is there. Is there a jump discontinuity at x equals to 0, or is it a point of continuity? Yes, all of you can see the function definition also. I have drawn its graph also. So if suppose you don't draw the graph, because graph is absolutely not necessary, if you don't draw the graph, so how to just look at the function definition? So you see there is a break point at 0, means your function is defined piecewise and 0 is coming as a point where the definition is changing. So you compute left hand limit at 0, you compute right hand limit at 0. So if they are not equal, so that means there is a discontinuity at 0, right? So it's easy to see there is a jump discontinuity at x equals to 0, because if at x equals to 0, if you compute the left hand limit, so that will be coming from this function pi plus x, that is pi plus 0, which is pi, and at x equals to 0, what is the value of right hand limit? That is just 0. So the jump is of magnitude pi. So you got different left hand limit and right hand limit. So that means this is a point of discontinuity. So when we have a point of discontinuity, so I told you on left hand side, it will be not just the function value, it will be half of the left hand limit and the plus the right hand limit. So left hand limit is turning out to be pi, right hand limit is turning out to be 0. So it is basically pi by 2 is equal to pi by 4 plus, now I need to expand the series because the way they are asking us to prove. So you start by putting n is equal to 1. You can take 1 by pi common. So when you put n is equal to 1, so this is 1 minus, and this is going to be minus 1 raised to power 1, which is minus 1. So it is going to be plus 1, 2 by 1 square, right? What is the next term? You put n is equal to 2. When you put n is equal to 2, it is 1 minus minus 1 square by 2 square. And when you put n is equal to 3 again, so I'm putting n is equal to 3, 3 square, and because this is definitely 1, cos 0 is 1, sin 0 is 0. So these terms are gone. We are just computing these coefficients. So now you see what you are getting. So pi by 2, this pi by 4 can be shifted to left hand side. So pi by 2 minus pi by 4 is 1 by pi, 2 by 1 square. Now this term will also be 0 because negative. This term will be 0. So you will be left with only the positive, the odd term, 2 by 3 square, 2 by 5 square, and so on. So now you just simplify it a bit. So pi by 2 minus pi by 4 will be pi by 4, and you multiply by 2. Sorry, you multiply by pi and divide by 2. So this 2 by pi I'm shifting to other side. It will be this. See, important is you need to identify ki what x should be substituted. Otherwise, after that, it is simply calculation. Just the terms rearrangement. So it's pi square by 8 is 1 plus 1 by 3 square plus 1 by 5 square and so on. And this is what you wanted to prove. So that is what we have proved now. Yes, Uday.
मैम मैम आपने भी बताया था कि मैम एक बार क्वेश्चन के अंदर मैम जो पॉइंट ऑफ डिसकंटिन्यूटी है उस पे वैल्यू क्या है फंक्शन की वैल्यू
जस्ट a minute, let me scroll up. फंक्शन की वैल्यू, पॉइंट ऑफ डिसकंटिन्यूटी फंक्शन की वैल्यू कुछ भी हो सकती है, वो 0 पे 0 है इस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन में गिवन है आपको 0, क्योंकि अगर आपको फंक्शन की वैल्यू देखनी है 0 पे क्या है, वो 0 है, क्योंकि
कोई आर्बिट्ररी भी हो सकती है, कुछ भी हो सकती है ये मतलब।
हाँ, आपको तो डिसकंटिन्यूटी चाहिए ना बस उस पॉइंट पे। डिसकंटिन्यूटी का मतलब है लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट शुड नॉट बी सेम एज राइट हैंड लिमिट, फर्दर लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट मे नॉट बी सेम एज राइट हैंड लिमिट, मे नॉट बी सेम एज अ फंक्शन वैल्यू, तीनों भी अलग अलग हो सकते हैं, बट फंक्शन वैल्यू पे हम जाते ही नहीं है ना, जब लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट और राइट हैंड लिमिट ही मैच नहीं करें तो वहीं पे क्लियर हो जाता है कि देयर इज अ जंप डिसकंटिन्यूटी। यस, देयर कैन बी अ सेपरेट वैल्यू डिफाइंड, बट प्रॉब्लम इज द पॉइंट इज वी डोंट नीड दैट वैल्यू, हमें वही वैल्यू चाहिए क्योंकि हमारी कन्वर्जेंस थ्योरम के अकॉर्डिंग वो एवरेज ऑफ लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट और राइट हैंड लिमिट को ही कन्वर्ज करेगा।
यस मैम। मैम आपने मैम कहा था कि डिसकंटिन्यू पॉइंट पे हाफ LHL प्लस RHL हो जाता है, लेकिन आपने सबसे पहले स्टार्टिंग में बताया था ना कि जो मैम के फोरियर सीरीज इक्वल टू द फंक्शन इटसेल्फ, जिसकी फोरियर सीरीज लिख रहे होते हैं, तो अगर उसको लें तो पॉइंट ऑफ डिसकंटिन्यूटी पे जो फंक्शन की वैल्यू है वो आनी चाहिए लेफ्ट साइड में इंस्टेड ऑफ हाफ प्लस RHL प्लस।
लेट मी अगेन टेल यू दैट रिजल्ट where this is the theorem which I started in the beginning. The first point, if you want to look at, the series converges to fx. ये जो मैंने is equal to fx लिखा था, this was only for first point. At the points of continuity, this is exactly matching.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
But at the point of discontinuity, I cannot write this function is equal to fx. The series is equal to fx because if there is a discontinuity there, so I can tell you what is going to happen at the point of discontinuity. The series, whatever you have derived, this is equal to half of LHL plus RHL. I cannot write f of x is equal to this. So this is not a universal thing. This is only true for those values of x where the function is continuous. That is why when x happens to be a point of continuity, तो लेफ्ट हैंड साइड में द वे आई एक्सप्लेन यू दैट एग्जांपल कि वहां पे कंटिन्यूस था, जैसे हमने 2 एग्जांपल किए तो हम सीधा फंक्शन की वैल्यू वहां पे यूज करनी, बट इन द सेकंड एग्जांपल the point which we substituted there, it happened to be discontinuity, so we could not use function value whatever it is given to you, so we just used this one. So this is how it is.
ओके मैम। एंड मैम मैम हमने x इक्वल टू 0 लिया था, ऐसे x इक्वल टू पाई या कोई और वैल्यू लेकर भी सॉल्व कर सकते थे?
ले सकते हैं, बट यूजुअली हम डोमेन में से ही लेते हैं, मतलब जिस पीरियड पे फंक्शन आपको गिवन हो। आप पीरियड के बाहर भी ले सकते हो, बट देन यू हैव टू लुक एट द डेफिनेशन वेरी क्लियरली बिकॉज द वैल्यू स्टार्ट रिपीटिंग इटसेल्फ, सो दैट्स व्हाई वी ट्राई टू टेक इट इनसाइड द इंटरवल व्हिच इज गिवन टू अस, स्ट्रिक्टली गिवन टू अस। यू कैन टेक द एंड पॉइंट्स आल्सो, आप पाई पे भी ले सकते हो, स्टिल यू विल गेट दैट, बट फिर पाई पे भी जस्ट अ मिनट, लेट मी स्क्रॉल डाउन, पाई पे भी अगर आप लोगे सेम तो भी हो जाएगा, बिकॉज साइन वाली टर्म्स को 0 बनाना है ना, तो साइन वाली टर्म्स पाई पे भी 0 बन जाएंगे इफ यू टेक x इक्वल्स टू पाई, बट उस टाइम पे फिर आपको x इज इक्वल टू पाई देखना पड़ेगा। अब x इक्वल्स टू पाई इज हैपनिंग टू बी द एंड पॉइंट, तो एंड पॉइंट पे भी ऐसे ही निकालते हैं हाफ ऑफ LHL प्लस RHL, तो वहां से
Yes.
भी करोगे तो सेम ही आंसर आएगा।
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so this may happen in some questions that you may get more than one option because periodic functions हैं तो repeated values होती हैं। Yes, Ishan, I'm explaining again. If 0 was a point of continuity, then the LHS would have been function value at 0, right? If your function would have been something like this, right? So left hand limit is same as the right hand limit. So both sides it is approaching to 0. So whatever is the function value given there, that is. So for that you don't need to even check left hand limit and right hand limit. For that you just see the function definition wherever it is given. But obviously you should be clear with it that whether there is a point of continuity or discontinuity. What you can do is, if you people are let me just pause this one. If some of you are getting confused, what you can do is just directly remember this formula, that it is always half of LHL plus RHL. Because what will happen if you just remember it is always half of LHL plus RHL. Now if the function is continuous also at that point, then we know that the LHL will be same as RHL will be same as the function value. So this is going to be f of x plus f of x by 2. So it will be automatically the function value itself. So basically you can see this is a general formula. It will work for the discontinuity point also, for the continuous also. Because for continuity, LHL will be same as RHL will be same as a function value. So for that's why it will be directly getting this one, which we are using directly. I just hope that is clear.
मैम तो अगर इसमें से कॉन्टिन्यूस में एफ ऑफ एक्स की वैल्यू आती है, तो जो हमने इससे पिछला क्वेश्चन किया था उसमें तो वो पॉइंट ऑफ कॉन्टिन्यूटी था, तो उसमें आपने एलएचएस को 1 ले लिया था।
क्योंकि
तो फिर
फंक्शन क्या था ना, देखो आई टोल्ड यू, लेट मी शो यू।
फंक्शन
फंक्शन sin x था ना, पॉइंट था पाई बाय 2। पाई बाय 2 कहाँ पे आपके डोमेन में? पाई बाय 2 इधर है जी, तो आपको ये वाला फंक्शन की डेफिनेशन यूज करना है ना। whenever x lies between 0 to pi, function is sin x. Now I see that at pi by 2 my function is continuous, so I'll be using f pi by 2. So what is f pi by 2? Where will I go to compute f pi by 2? This part, not this part, because this is minus pi to 0. So f pi by 2 is sin pi by 2, which is 1. मैंने यहाँ से 1 लिया है, it's not appearing from anywhere else.
हम जो पुट करते हैं वो हमेशा फंक्शन की रेंज के अंदर से ही लेते हैं, राइट? जैसे पाई बाय 2 हमने पुट किया तो
या बिकॉज वो जो भी पॉइंट आपके ये बन रहे हैं, अब आपने डिसाइड किया कि मुझे x इक्वल्स टू पाई बाय 2 पुट करने से ये वाली सीरीज जो है डिराइव हो जाएगी, तो ऑब्वियसली दिस पाई बाय 2 इज लाइंग समवेयर इन योर डेफिनेशन माइनस l to l, कहीं ना कहीं तो वो पॉइंट होगा ना।
ठीक है मैम, थैंक यू।
यस, एनी अदर डाउट? यस विदुषी, यू कैन आस्क मी योर डाउट।
प्रीवियस एग्जांपल मैम पाई बाय 2 पे कंटिन्यूअस कैसे पता चला था?
बेटा ग्राफ, यू लुक एट द ग्राफ ना। आपको अगर एक फंक्शन में ऐसे डिफाइन करूं कि माइनस पाई टू 0 पे 0 है, 0 टू पाई में साइन एक्स है। अब माइनस पाई टू 0 में ये कांस्टेंट फंक्शन है। कांस्टेंट फंक्शन क्या होता है? कंटिन्यूस। 0 टू पाई में ये साइन एक्स है, साइन एक्स भी क्या होता है? कंटिन्यूस। तो ये इंडिविजुअली इसके जो पीसेस हैं दे आर कंटिन्यूस, बट द ओनली पॉसिबिलिटी वेयर दिस फंक्शन कैन बी डिसकंटिन्यूअस है जो ब्रेक पॉइंट है 0। ये फंक्शन तो 0 पे भी कंटिन्यूस है रादर, बिकॉज 0 पे भी आप लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे लिमिट निकालोगे तो भी 0 आएगी, राइट हैंड लिमिट पे भी आओगे तो 0 बनाएगी आ रही है।
तो लिमिट से भी कर सकते हैं ना, जैसे पाई बाय 2 पे करना है तो फिर लिमिट्स कैसे निकालेंगे?
पाई बाय 2 पे लिमिट कैसे निकालोगे फंक्शन की? लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट निकालोगे वो भी 1 आएगी, राइट हैंड लिमिट निकालोगे वो भी 1 आएगी, फंक्शन की वैल्यू भी 1 आएगी, तब आपको पता चल जाएगा अच्छा यहाँ पे तो कंटिन्यूस है। तो means I'm not getting your question. You want to know how to check continuity?
Yes ma'am.
आप ग्राफ देखो ना बेटा, ग्राफ से भी कंटिन्यूसली ड्रॉ हो रहा है ना। मैंने आई डिडंट पिक अप माय पेन व्हाइल ड्राइंग द ग्राफ ऑफ दिस फंक्शन। अगर आपको ग्राफिकली नहीं करना है तो मैंने आपको बता दिया, जब भी पीस वाइज डिफाइंड होते हैं ये फंक्शन, डोमेन आपकी डिवाइड होगी है माइनस पाई टू पाई, 0 पे उन्होंने एक ब्रेक इंट्रोड्यूस किया है So the only point of possible discontinuity is the zero, because individually ये continuous है individually. तो अगर मैं 0 to पाई के बीच में आपको कोई भी पॉइंट दू, पाई बाय 2, पाई बाय 3, पाई बाय 4, वहां पे हर जगह फंक्शन इज sin x, दैट इज कंटिन्यूअस. सिमिलरली मैं माइनस पाई बाय 2 पे पूछूं फंक्शन कंटिन्यूअस है कि नहीं, वहां पे भी कंटिन्यूअस है, बिकॉज दैट्स अ कांस्टेंट फंक्शन. सो द ओनली पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ बीइंग डिसकंटिन्यूअस इज एट 0. तो 0 पे चेक करने के लिए फिर आप लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट और राइट हैंड लिमिट से चेक कर सकते हो. इफ बोथ turn out to be same, equal to the function value, then we will see that.
एंड मैम जो ये फोरियर सीरीज डिराइव हुई थी ना n इक्वल टू 2 से हुई थी, तो मैम इसी में हमने निकाला था ना b1 और a1. जब नीचे 1 नहीं आएगा n स्क्वायर माइनस 1 तो नहीं निकालेंगे ना.
हाँ वो तभी या बिकॉज n स्क्वायर माइनस 1 आ गया था ना, दैट्स व्हाई वी कांट राइट n इज इक्वल टू 1. वी कैन राइट n इज इक्वल टू 2 ओनली. तो n इज इक्वल टू 1 के लिए हमने ये निकाला था, वो 0 आया था. a1 और सिमिलरली bn 0 हो गए थे, b1 सिर्फ बचा था एक, तो b1 की एक टर्म आई थी यहाँ पे.
मैम ये टर्म्स तभी निकालना है ना जब डिनोमिनेटर में ऐसा.
हाँ अगर डिनोमिनेटर में आज करेंगे एक एग्जांपल देयर, आई विल शो यू कि
ओके मैम.
आई विल इवन आई कैन शो यू इन द नेक्स्ट एग्जांपल जो भी हमने किया है. ऑल्दो मैंने आपको उसका डिराइव नहीं करके दिखाया फोरियर सीरीज, बट अगर आप ये करोगे तो आपको पता चल जाएगा. यहाँ पे डिनोमिनेटर में आ रहा है n स्क्वायर और यहाँ पे आ रहा है n. सो अब ये डिनोमिनेटर्स प्रॉब्लमेटिक कब बनेंगे, n इज इक्वल टू 0 पे. तो n इज इक्वल टू 0 तो वैसे ही अलाउड नहीं होता है, हमारा समेशन n इज इक्वल टू 1 से ही स्टार्ट होता है. तो दैट मीन्स ये वाली फोरियर सीरीज की जब आप डेरिवेशन करोगे आपको a1 b1 वो अलग से नहीं निकालने हैं, क्योंकि डिनोमिनेटर इज रियली हैविंग नो प्रॉब्लम. अगर n माइनस 1, n स्क्वायर माइनस 1 मीन्स कुछ भी ऐसा डिनोमिनेटर से पॉइंट आए जो आपके इसमें लाई कर रहा है, n इज इक्वल टू 1 2 3 4, इनमें 0 बन रहा है, देन ओनली यू नीड टू कंप्यूट दैट सेपरेटली. बट इस क्वेश्चन में देखो आपका समेशन 1 से ही स्टार्ट हो रहा है, तो इसमें सेपरेटली नहीं कंप्यूट होंगे. तो जो an आएगा वही सीधा है और जो bn आएगा वही सीधा आप यूज करोगे.
ओके मैम.
राइट. ओके. Right, so now we are going to switch to the next topic in the same. So this is Fourier half range series. So far now you know, given any function, how to derive its Fourier series. So I've already explained you that if a function happens to be even function, then its Fourier series will be just containing cosine terms, a0 and ans will be computed, bn will be 0 in this case. And if function happens to be odd function, then its Fourier series will be just containing sine terms, so it will be a sine series. In this, bn will be computed and a0 and an both will be 0, right? So this is something we know. And even if you do not check even odd, directly you can start computation and automatically they will turn out to be 0. And after deriving Fourier series, there was a topic which was checking convergence. Now we need to learn what is this half range series. So basically what is happening right now, that so far whatever functions were given to us, we had this kind of domain. They were defined over an interval like minus L to L, right? Or minus pi to pi, because if L happens to be pi, so we know that interval is minus pi to pi. So for both these kind of functions, like if you are given interval like minus 1 to 1, minus 3 to 3, minus pi to pi, so any interval given on this type which is symmetrical with respect to the point 0, right? Then that kind of interval, for this kind of interval, we already know how to derive the Fourier series, right? So this is something we already know. Now what is this half range? Half range is, okay, one more thing. So these functions which are defined over these kind of interval, their period happens to be 2L, right? Minus L to L, the definition is given, and after that values start repeating. So they're like, for this the period is 2 pi, for this the period is 2L, for this the period is 2, for this the period is, sorry, this is, yeah, sorry, 2, and for this the period is 6. So this is what was happening. Now for this kind of function, if you are given a function which is defined on this kind of interval, 0 to L, instead of giving you the function from minus L to L, if you are given the function defined on 0 to L, and it is also true that function is periodic with period L. So its period is also half, its range is also half. The total range of the x values were minus L to L, but now we are just saying it is from 0 to L. That is how the function definition is given to us. Then what to do? So then the question is how to derive its half range, how to derive its series. And that series will be known as the half range series because of the half range interval given to us. So the half range is just a name, but actually we need to derive the Fourier series for this kind of functions. So it is something like we already know the procedure for this method, but we do not know the procedure for 0 to L, because the formulas which we have given to you, A naught, A and B n, they are all been derived keeping into mind these things, minus L to L, minus pi to pi, these kind of things. So the point is, the way is convert the given function fx on 0 to L to another function. So what we'll do, we'll define some another function, say capital Fx on minus L to L, such that this capital Fx is, now you will break your domain like minus L to 0, 0 to L. So from 0 to L, the function is small fx. From minus L to 0, we are not given any information because we are just given information about the interval 0 to L. So what we are doing, we are defining a new function capital Fx, which takes the same value on the interval 0 to L, but we do not know what value it takes on minus L to 0. So here is what we can play around with, that this is unknown function to us, right? So now let me show you graphically what is happening. So you are, say, given a function like this, say from 0 to 1, this is the function y is equal to x, which is given to you. So say you are given fx is equal to x, x lies from 0 to 1. And we want to derive a Fourier series for this, and that will be known as Fourier half range series because the kind of interval which is given to us. The point is how I need to convert this to capital Fx. So there are two options with me. One option is I can convert this function into an even function, or I can convert this function into an odd function. I will tell you how you are going to decide when to convert to even function or when to convert to odd function. So if I convert this to even function, so what is going to happen? Even function means there should be symmetry with respect to y-axis. So this should be my extension. Actually, the word conversion which I'm using is a non-technical word. Actually, the word is extension. So I'm extending my function's domain from 0 to L to minus L to L, and I am extending in a way that the overall, the final function turns out to be an even function. Do you agree with this? So the extension of small fx to capital Fx, where this capital Fx now happens to be even function. Agree with this? Because this is an even function, everybody can see from the graph, capital Fx. I'm not saying the small fx is even function, I'm saying the capital Fx is even function. And the other way is I can extend this function to some function, and that function is a odd function. So graphically, what will happen? This, because if I want to convert the given function, so the given function is not changed from 0 to 1, its definition is still the same, but I'm extending this to an odd function, right? So now I have my capital F defined on minus L to L. L is 1 in this particular example which I'm showing, and period of fx is going to be 2L, because you know the same way, the way you have defined this was 0 to 1 was given to you, but then you start defining your function in a same way with period 2L. So now you can derive Fourier series for fx. Now you can derive your Fourier series for fx. So now we have two cases. If fx is even, if fx is odd. So if fx is even, its Fourier series will be just a cosine series, and if fx is odd, its Fourier series will be just a sine series. This is what just I recalled you in the beginning, because we know that bn is 0 for even functions and a0 and an are 0 for odd functions, right? So this is what is going to happen. So so whatever will be the series derived for capital Fx cosine series, this will be called half range cosine series of small fx, and this series will be called half range sine series of small fx, because ultimately you wanted to derive series for small fx only. So that is clear now, that howsoever we do it, if you are asked find Fourier half range series, so you have two kind of series for the same function. You can define its Fourier half range cosine series, and you can find its Fourier half range sine series. So if the question is find Fourier half range cosine series of a given function fx, so whatever is the given function to you from any domain 0 to L, then what you will be doing, you will be extending fx to capital Fx, which will happen to be an even function. And we know that what is the formula of Fourier series? A0 by 2 plus summation n is equal to 1 to infinity an cos n pi by L x. And we know the definition of A0. So nothing changes basically. Nothing changes. We already know this is the definition of A0, 1 by L minus L to L. Sorry, this time this is capital F, because we are deriving the series for capital F. And since capital F happens to be even function, so this is 2 by L, 0 to L, capital Fx dx, and this is 2 by L, 0 to L, Fx dx. Yes, Ishan, you have a doubt?
No मैम, वो पुराना raised है. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, let me just complete this one, then you can ask me your doubts if anybody is having doubt. Yes, Tanmay. Okay, let me first complete this one. So you already know A0 and AN. So that means basically in this half range question, nothing changes. It is just, you will be given the question, find half range cosine series. So you just use the same formulas for A0, and for AN, we know it is 2 by L, 0 to L, f of x cosine n pi by Lx dx. So it's the same thing basically. And if you are given the question, find Fourier series of Fourier find Fourier half range sine series of given function. In that case, directly you just need to compute Bn 2 by L, 0 to L, f of x sine n pi by L dx. Because we know the original formula is 1 by L minus L to L f of x. It will be actually capital Fx sine n pi by Lx dx. But when we will use the property that capital Fx is even function, so this will be, sorry, capital Fx is odd function, so odd into odd becomes even. So this will be 2 by L, 0 to L, capital Fx first, and then we know the way capital Fx is defined. How we have defined capital Fx? That from 0 to L, it takes the same function value, which is original one, and from minus L to L, it takes some other value. So that other value we don't need it actually. It's sometimes it will be f of minus x, sometimes it will be minus of f of minus x, depending upon what we are doing. But we don't need to use it, because ultimately using the concept of even odd, it will be always 0 to L the function definition is required, and that is, this will reduce to this. So these are the formulas, and now we'll do the particular example to see. So The thing which I told you in the beginning, that how you will know that you need to extend to an odd function and extend to an even function. So that is information coming from the question only. If they are asking you to find Fourier cosine series, then you extend to an even function. If they're asking you to find a sine series, then extend to an odd function. So basically, mathematically, you won't be using this graph and other. This was only for making you understand that what is the meaning of extension. But in questions, we will be directly just computing A naught, ANs, and Bs. So one more important point which is coming up from this discussion is that you see it is possible for a function to be written as both sine series as well as cosine series, right? Otherwise, when the function definition was from minus L to L, then there is only one type of series possible depending upon the function is even or odd. If it is even, it is a cosine series. If it is odd, it is a sine series. But for a function defined from 0 to L, there are two possibilities. We can find its Fourier half range cosine series also, and we can find its Fourier half range sine series also. So that is the benefit of the giving the function definition on a half range, that we can express it in both the ways. So we'll do the examples. Right, so I'll take up the examples of these questions next time, and essentially you will see nothing has changed in the calculation. It's just a perspective you need to understand about it. Okay, so now you can ask me your doubts. The formulas of A naught and AN are same. No need to note them down. They are not a new formulas. They are the same old formulas. Yes, now you can ask me your doubts if anybody has any doubts. Just left with 1 to 2 minutes.
मैम ये हमने एम के अंदर मैम जीरो सेल क्यों लिखा मैम? इसमें अगर हम पूरा माइनस एल सेल डिफाइन कर चुके हैं मैम, तो फिर माइनस एल सेल,
या दैट इज जैसे मैंने bn एक्सप्लेन किया, इट्स द सेम लॉजिक. bn भी ओरिजिनली माइनस एल टू एल है ना, 1 by l माइनस एल टू एल कैपिटल fx, तो an भी ऐसे ही होगा ना, 1 by l माइनस एल टू एल कैपिटल fx cos n pi by lx dx. This is the original definition of an. Yeah, you agree with this? Now, because this capital fx is an even function, right? And the even into even, cosine is also an even function. So even into even is an even function. So this is 2 by l 0 to l capital fx cosine n pi by lx dx. And on the interval 0 to l, your capital fx is same as small fx. So that is why it is 2 by l 0 to l fx cosine n pi by lx. So this is the same thing which I told you for the even and odd functions, that you can remember that original formulas and then use that property of even odd function, or directly you can remember these formulas, that it always becomes 2 times and the limit always turns to be 0 to l.
okay,
right? So we'll do questions of this next time, and then you will understand basically what is the difference this about this point, that this which I told you in the beginning, for even function it's a cosine series, for odd function it's a sine series. This is when the total function is from minus L to L. But now in half range, the function is from 0 to L. We are converting this into the function of our choice. If we will convert this function into an even function, so we'll get the sine cosine series extension, otherwise sine series. That means it's possible for a function to have both kind of extensions, and that's a very, very good result. And we will see in the examples. We'll derive both series for the same function, sine series as well as cosine series. I'll do the question next time, right? So we are done with time. We'll next time discuss the questions about it. Yeah, thank you.